Hi guys, hi guys, hello, hello everybody of my fans of YouTube. My name is David Angel Coney. My son actually is David A. Coney or David Coney Persons. So this is my YouTube channel called the King TV channel. So how many subscribers to my channel now? Yeah. I'm so happy for you guys for subscribing to my channel of 294 subscribers to my channel. This guy's video episode. So tomorrow's subscribers will be like 295 subscribers to my channel. I'm supposed to 5 people will subscribe to my channel of King TV channel in the first place. So yeah, I did really exciting. So it's a good time. I think it's good me for a sticky time. I mean the good time. Brother. So yeah, this is my tomorrow's subscribers to my channel of 295 subscribers. Yeah, I'm excited for 295 subscribers to my channel. Plus 5 people will subscribe to my channel. All this shit for you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to watch my channel for watching my project channel of the episode called like SCP movie seeking episode of my series about this just from my process and the best place. And so yeah, I just really excited about this. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. For keep doing that. So very yeah. So yeah, I just really excited for my I'm really excited for my project channel. It's still coming in good place. It says till 2026 video. So yeah, I in next video if it's watch Super Dave Plessy episode 19 called SCP movie Sex Woman's Halloween video. Yeah, I like excited to watch 19 episode. Right? this place. So okay, I will just like the people on the basis of I don't look a bunch of people for like YouTubers, aka YouTubers the basis still but still not actually for exposed to my channel plus my Plushie channel in which place. So yeah, I don't want that at all. I mean it's like they want my Plushie search for my plans just before if they do it in the first place. But why do you still have plans that search for me? But like I don't know, I just wait for this. I was nice to play up this YouTuber and I play for the first place. Now I just still play my new home. I didn't exactly this is why exactly will move in the first place. But now the idea of like this guy that we're talking about living in this place. And it's like so yeah, I totally advise people is just stop discussing from my channel. And it says play 1 second in the first place. Yeah, I just really excited for I like excited for the fish instead of various other other people who should be acting too. So yeah, except one thing, I just stayed to I stayed to watch episode 2 and episode 7 of the Amazing Digital Circus in the first place. So that's the big problem. I mean like a cleaning chaos. The the mystery of a main hardware. Redwood Masquerade. A title. They all get guns. And beast episode. Sent to the first place. So yeah, something like I don't like it at all. I will keep doing that for my remake video, like every first place. It's a mix like I will post the video of Kitty Chaos, the mystery of a main home murder, Redwood Masquerade, and title. They all get guns, and a beast episode remake by the Amazing Digital Circus. Well, yeah, I think still of the main videos is Glitch and Glitchworks. Well, Protagonist is for Glitchworks and Glitch on time. Well, I accept one thing. I thought okay for acting like it's in a AI so. Well, my son is not. So I told a bunch of people for being I was wrong in this place. So yeah, I'm not for discussing for my channel. So yeah, so enough for my enough for my channel discussion channel. I like and if I like the Amazing Digital Circus episodes 2 and 7 first place. So let's do the rest of Happy Playtime Chapter 3 and Happy Playtime Chapter 4 called Deep Sleep and Stay Happy in the first place. Alright, let's get to the video. How many likes my channel got? Let's get hit 2,000 likes to my channel. Well, let's continue. A business. So, yeah, what was that? Yeah, I got off at 2,000 myself. So, how many plays ago? Jealous hit 33,000 viewers of video. Well, let's continue. A business. And, and finally, and how many likes am I saying it? And let's go hit 233,000 likes on my channel. Yeah, and an example of this. So in the next video of like the next video is by the end of so and it's the end of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 till Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. Exactly. Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. Like she having and rocket things more. So yeah, I'm just really excited for excuse me 4 times. Alright, let's get to the video of let's get to the video of where are the children? Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 story and Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 ending secrets and Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 secrets ending more. So yeah, like I said, 3, 2, 1, go.
We now know what happened to the employees, but something we don't know yet is what happened to the children who were kept in the playcare and who would occasionally go up to the game station. During the hour of joy, we saw several CCTV clips of how everyone who was in the factory was butchered and killed, and subsequently taken back to the factory to be consumed by the hungry leather. The act of eating them seems to have stemmed more from a howling hunger that they suffered from when transformed into these dolls. I doubt that they were all hungry at the same exact time, eating so many people without feeling full. Also, the organization possibly fed them constantly to function, as otherwise they would die. So they ate the employees not out of necessity at that point, but more as a symbolic gesture. It's clear at this point that the dolls have a digestive system and need to eat, as Mr. Light almost starved to death and had to kill and eat her peers in order to survive. What's not clear is if the dolls, apart from having a need to eat to function, also have a desire to savagely rip the flesh of the employees to satisfy other needs. Anyway, all the employees were subsequently taken down to be consumed, but I doubt they were all eaten, as there were many, so it's possible some corpses were kept or stored for later on. There's not much information about how they stored them and if they had freezers or not, and it's not even clear if all the employees are dead or some still remain in the bottom of the factory. We don't even know if there are even any corpses remaining. In the Hour of Joy tape, we saw that not one living employee was left anymore, with every single one lying in their own pool of blood. So if we want to go based on evidence and what we see, it would make more sense to say every single employee is dead. But again, in a take recorded by Mr. Light, talking to herself or her alter ego, Barb, she explains how she spoke to the prototype, asking if the children are in the same place as the employees.
Where are the kids? Wait, where are the children? Are they in the same place as the
当天设
employees?
立会才有 Where are the
Are
children?
the children safe? Yes. Oh. Can I see them?
After study for 6
And that
times.
was
I
all
mean
he
4
told me.
times.
Probably because he knew I'd kill them all.
The
Wait a
prototype
minute.
proceeds to say no
Wait a
and
minute.
that the children
Mr. Light is killing all the children with this scary stick figure children. Dude, I can't do that, Mr. Light. But why? Why are you still killing the stick figure kids? This is not allowed. Okay?
are
This
safe.
is love
So this
resistance.
gives a hint to
Not
what
killing
might
the
have happened to
children.
the employees. Pay attention to how Mr. Light does not ask if the children are in the same place the employees used to be in, or kept in, or taken to. But instead, she uses present tense, asking if the children are in the same place as the employees. This confirms that some or many employees, whether dead or alive, are still kept somewhere beneath the factory, the place where they are segregated from the children. What we can say for sure is if the employees are alive or dead, as Mr. Light simply refers to them as the employees and nothing more, with no indication if they are alive or dead. But by the sounds of it, when Mr. Light asks if the children are in the same place as the employees, we could suggest that some employees are still alive, as people usually tend to keep meat in freezers to keep them edible so they don't decompose or rot. And based on that, we can assume that if the employees were dead and kept in a storage room, which typically would be a freezer, it wouldn't make it a suitable place for the children to be in either, as they would freeze to death. So according to that, we can presume that some employees are still alive, as Mr. Light wouldn't ask the prototype if the children are in the same place as the employees, as it would be an oxymoronic question, knowing living
Mr.
children
Light, we're
can't be
telling
kept in
prototype
freezers. Also to add to that, Bobby keeps on saying that there are many that still need saving. Therefore, using this information, we can assume that the Hour of Joy tape did not show everything on that day and what happened to many others. That would correspond to the children also not being observed and what happened to them, as certain parts of the factory was not recorded. Maybe certain parts that were off limits, or certain people and employees whom the toys didn't want to harm. Therefore, not seeing certain parts of the factory and any child at all, we can assume two possibilities. The children were not harmed or harmed. And using the information from Mr. Light, we can confirm that the children were not harmed, or at least majority of them, and they are kept somewhere safe by the prototype. The prototype even refused to expose their whereabouts and location, as he knew Mr. Light would harm them. And she even goes on explaining to Barb that she would kill them, only pretending to the prototype that she cares about their safety. If you also note, the prototype only collects certain toys' corpses such as Mummy Longlegs and Catnap, but not many others who died, such as Mr. Light. He even went to the extent of locking her inside the school with all the other teachers to fight for their survival, only letting one out. It's not really explained why he would do such a thing, but maybe the prototype knew of Mr. Light and the other teachers' hostility and wanted to control them easier by reducing them to only one. He knew many dolls would not be controlled and could possibly harm the children, hence why he killed many dolls who were not being controlled. But again, he killed many dolls who opposed them and wanted to save the innocent employees. So the prototype's character is very gray, or in the middle, rather than being truly evil. He has many good and noble characteristics as well, fighting for freedom and saving others, even sacrificing his own freedom at a point to save Theodore Gramble, an orphan child. Mummy Longlegs also cared about the children very much, and despite being very resentful for what happened to her, showing extreme hostility to the employees, she composed herself and worked with the organization to show the orphan children a better life. essentially sacrificing herself and her need for freedom and justice just to help the children feel better and be more comfortable. So the question to what happened to the children, most likely they were taken by the prototype to a safe place out of the reach from many toys and dolls who just became savages and wanted to kill and eat anyone that they found. The prototype seems to have directed the children to safety during the hour of joy, where every toy rebelled and killed anyone that they found, keeping
The
their
dark
location a
side
secret to
of
many
saving
dolls
of
and
kids
toys so
is
they
still
would not
moving its
attack
own.
them. Pay
That's
attention to
really
how
creepy.
none of them are seen on the CCTV, meaning that he took them to some off-limit places. It's not very clear if the
And
prototype
hunting
is
too.
serving the children as
Like
food to the
like
toys and dolls in
lion,
rations,
dog,
but according to what we have heard
recipe,
and what has been documented about the prototype, he's willing to go so far as sacrificing himself to save the lives of children. He seems to also have a fighting soul, never giving in, despite being tortured and tormented on a daily basis. So the children are most likely safe, as he explained it himself, away from other dolls and toys, even dolls and toys like Mummy and Catnip. Even though we know Mummy really cared about the children and had a passion of spending time with them, having a caring mother persona, she even was prevented from knowing where the children are.
It's been so long.
In her dialogue, she explains that it's been a very long time since she had any visitors or played with anyone, indicating that she has been deprived of seeing the children. This is presumably done by the prototype in order to safeguard the children, as the toys have shown to be capable of violence and snapping. And despite all of that, I actually personally understand them, as they have been treated extremely bad, suffering from a howling hunger, and on top of that, they probably have severe PTSD after what they experienced and what they have become. So in the prototype's perspective, the safest option is to keep the children away from these dolls and rely only on himself to keep them safe. Maybe the entire reason why the prototype didn't leave the factory, as time and time we learned he wanted to escape and run away from the factory, is because he has taken the responsibility of safeguarding them. But the question remains, why the prototype just doesn't let the children go out of the factory and be free? There are a lot of reasons and speculation which can be formed, with one being that as soon as the children would want to leave, the other dolls could potentially attack them. Another reason is that many children could expose the dolls at their location, making it dangerous for them as the authorities would hunt them down. Another reason could be because the children would have no other place to go to, as after all, they are orphans. Many of them are probably still very young, as the organization even took guardianship of babies. And a more grim and sinister theory is that there are in fact no children remaining, and the prototype whether freed them all, lying to the others, or maybe killed them all. So in reality, there are no more children, because I would assume many of them would be over the age of 18 by now, since the Hour of Joy took place many years earlier. And at that point, there must have been many orphan children being older than 12 years old. Either way, we can be optimistic and assume the children are safe under the observation and care of the prototype. But that raises another question to how they are surviving and living. They have probably no food, and if any, it would be the flesh of the corpses of the employees, which would be extremely grim. They also seem to be kept in a hideout under the factory, seemingly in the labs, which would mean that they barely get any sun or have limited ventilation and space. So hundreds of them in such tight space, in such condition, is at the very least inhumane and would drive anyone to insanity. So the likelihood of them actually living becomes slim. What are your thoughts? Do you think they are still living and safe beneath the factory, somewhere that no one apart from the prototype knows? Or are they actually dead and the prototype is lying? Or have they managed to run away? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, it's been your host Star, and I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day.
Love you too. What exactly quiet from us? What is exactly but quiet from us? That makes sense. Alright, next is Marvel Playtime Chapter 4. Story explained. Well, thanks a lot.
If I were you,
chapter begins with a new character being introduced named Doughy the Doughman, which is a stretchy Play-Doh type of toy. The characteristics are similar to Mummy Longlegs, but this time around, instead of having stretchy limbs, the toy is fully flexible. Unlike Mummy Longlegs, who had a mother-like persona, Doughy is labeled as a funny and entertaining character. The toy becomes popular among kids, with hundreds of copies being sold. Playtime Factory, as a sort of promotion, decides to place an invitation card in certain toy boxes sold to public, giving the members of the public a tour of the factory. A kid named Jack happens to be one of the lucky customers who gets the invite card inside his Doughy toy box that his parents bought for him.
Wait a minute. Who is exactly Jack? He is the public playtime chapter 4. All you know is, I don't like Jack and love program school. So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't like, Jack and love program anymore. That means like, Jack and love program school. And Jack in public playtime chapter 4, and it means like they actually both check the Democrats in this place. Yes, exactly. It means like sex the Democrats were set for all this game to the program in this place. But why you still hate on these words? Like, I don't know, like the people who says hungry if I see you in this place. But why? And why in this place? Why do you keep saying like what? You see what?
For him as a surprise. Eagerly going to the factory, a tragic accident claims the life of Jack, who drops in a mixture vat which seems to be creating the ingredients for their new line of toys, Doughy. Continuing back on where we were left off on chapter 3,
why does
as Puppy and
everybody
the protagonist
still
are
panic
using the
about
elevator
Jack
to go down to
to the
find the
fall
orphans,
down
Jessie gets attacked by a mysterious character, making Puppy become very anxious. As they reach the bottom level, Puppy explains how the factory created a hell in this level, being nothing like above. Puppy goes back to the higher level to help Jessie, telling the protagonist to continue on following the red smoke. She promises to catch up with the protagonist soon enough. Reading a note from the science lab personnel, it's revealed that the red smoke is flammable and using any lighter in its presence must be avoided. Passing through what seems to be a secret cave, the protagonist finds pipes and mounds of discarded toys, with many of them still being alive. It shows how many of the orphans who were transitioned into these toys were so heartlessly discarded down here to rot in darkness, while the factory pretends to be a good and caring organization. In the midst of all this, the protagonist finds the journals of an orphan girl called Riley, who lost her parents in an accident. Riley, being understandably depressed and upset for the situation that she is placed in, tries her best to seem happy and to have a better life, or at least try her best for the sake of her parents to make them happy that their daughter is doing alright. Who does the list of things the organization asks of her and gets a certain score in the tests that they conduct in order to be a suitable candidate to be adopted. If only she would know the organization is doing all these tests and gives them scores not for adoption, but for checking their suitability of being experimented on. Through Riley's journals, we learn how much she cared about others and how she wanted to establish an orphanage herself and help orphans who were in her place. Unfortunately, it completely turned out differently for her as she turned into one of the toys.
But the second column says, there's no food here, only the bodies, and I refuse to eat them. Excuse me, the toys is not for eating. for people like that. As can't do that. What's supposed to live for the monsters, but keep doing that. I know, like the monsters in the game. So yeah, I like this like all this factory, but not integrate with the rules of like there's no road here, only the bodies, and refuse to eat them in the first place. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. And it's just for living for this factory. That doesn't make sense. It makes like other people still dying in the factory. And the out of the story for this, how is that possible? And what is wrong for playtime code factory? Yeah.
Riley, seeing the horrors inside the factory, decides to make her life useful to at least one person and tries to place the key to the train somewhere so at least one person can survive. She makes peace with her fate of being imprisoned.
I want to say nobody else should know hell like this or the demons that live there. I don't need to put any sentence. And it means like you like this. That means like this is exactly for CC5 song code here like this. Of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 song called Here Like This song. Factory standing for 65 songs. For another video for this. That's the journey done for R. Of course you.
And as a horrifying monster in the shape of a toy, and that she will most likely die. But she promises to make her life matter and make her parents proud. Poor Riley didn't deserve this, and think about all the good that she could have done if she survived and had a prosperous life. This was all taken from her by the cruel and heartless organization who only cared about their terrible experiments. The protagonist finds the key amongst many corpses of toys and Playtime Factory employees who seem to have killed each other in a riot. Playing an audio tape from the exchange of two security guards in the depths of the factory, the protagonist hears the forced justification and denial of the guards on how they try to normalize the tragic fate of the orphan kids.
Hey, Cole. Hey, Laura. 2 o'clock, huh? Best time of the day? Yeah. So, well, walking you again? Nora. Can't say I hear much about that one. You would. High security? Highest security. Cushy. No, we gang these twin painted on the wall.
Oh my goodness. They are all obsessed
second guard finds it difficult listening to the cries of the kids who beg for their parents, while the first guard explains that they aren't humans anymore and that they are instinctual monsters. These horrible guards depict the perspective of the employees of the Playtime factory who lost their own humanity in their line of work by taking the humanity of the kids, transforming them into monsters. They dismiss them being human, while they were the ones who took it away. Regardless, the toys, or the monsters as they like to call them, monsters such as Riley, showed a lot more humanity, sacrificing herself to help others in need, while these horrible guards and scientists caused this tragic and sad fate for the kids. Riley even explained, despite being hungry and having nothing to eat, she refused to eat other toys or remains of humans. Kids full of dreams and hopes, fighting to find happiness after losing their parents. This just boils my blood what hypocrites and ironic the employees are, being the monsters themselves, yet failing to see it. They even complain not because of the horrible fate that they have given to the kids, but because they have to listen to them and get annoyed, instead preferring peace and quiet. They want to torment and torture the kids by experimenting on them, yet having the audacity to demand quiet and silence from them. They want to take away the only thing that they have left, their voices. The protagonist uses the key Riley stashed away to operate the train. When the TV plays directly addressing him, the person on the TV is known as the Doctor, who is an evil force threatening the protagonist of daring to come down here, trying to rescue the surviving orphans. Deeper in this level of the factory, the protagonist arrives at the notorious prison where the organization kept many of the experimental on toys and the most unruly and rebellious ones. The Doctor in here seems to be the very first human villain the protagonist will face, being the most evil and terrifying of all. The person who created this nightmare with monsters roaming it. The Doctor toys with the protagonist, refusing to refer to him as a human being, calling him a subject as if he is running his normal lab tests. This displays his detachment to his work and humans subjected to his cruel experiments. He traps the protagonist and opens the cells of many hostile toys, where once humans filled with anger and resentment to any adults that they see. The protagonist understands that he is fighting on the wrong side, and the true monsters are the personnel of these facilities, but is left with no other choice but to defend himself by hurting the toys, something that he finds difficult. After being entertained enough, the Doctor calls off the toys and tells the protagonist to continue on. Proceeding further, the protagonist finds the corpses of many hazmat-wearing personnel who seemingly worked here to extract some of the toys, known as the extraction specialists. As we heard through some of the tapes, the toys rebelled at some point and managed to kill many of the employees, with some managing to get to the higher floors. Finding journal entry by Dr. Harley Sawyer, we learn more about the manipulative and predatory characteristics of the employees of the Playtime. Before and after the experiments, they didn't look at the kids as humans, but rather test subjects. That's when we learn about Yarnaby, or otherwise known as Experiment 1166, who Dr. Sawyer labels as a funny pet. Despite disregarding it as worthy or even a human, Dr. Sawyer writes about their plans on how they intend to isolate the toy and manipulate it so that they will be its entire world in order to control it like a good little dog. The poor kids, who many lost their cognitive abilities after the experiments, were badly treated and controlled in order to behave how the employees wanted them to. Hearing more from the Doctor, who seems to be the notorious and sadistic Dr. Sawyer, we get to see Yarnaby in flesh, who is an extremely loyal and obedient toy, listening to whatever Dr. Sawyer tells him to do. He does behave like a dog, being in the shape of one who Dr. Sawyer uses as a guard dog. Reading a journal entry from the guard we heard from before, Paul, who seemed to have a nonchalant attitude towards the toys, he explains how he was horrified to learn that these toys were transitioned from humans. He had no idea, but after learning about it, he made a vow to get to the bottom of it and expose the organization and put an end to it. So it's revealed not all personnel were evil, but majority were ignorant and kept in the dark about the truth. In the final journal entry from Cole, he explains how in another breakout, the toys attacked the employees. He wakes up to find himself trapped in the cell while he hears the screams of other guards. He confesses that he deserves this and belongs there, as he cannot deny he is not innocent, whether knowing it or ignorantly. He explains that they hurt the toys and the toys hurt them back, and they all deserve each other and belong in this prison. In a videotape listening to the conversation between Stella Graber and Leif Pierre, we see how the once compassionate Stella, who cared deeply about the kids, has now changed her perspective. She explains that she still cares so much, but the goal and ambition of these experiments are far greater than the lives of thousands down here. She explains how the scientific achievements will change the lives of many to come, maybe millions or even billions, and that is the justification that she gives herself to continue on the work down here, tormenting and hurting thousands of kids. So far, we know the organization wanted to bring the toys into life and create lifelike toys which could better entertain the customer base. But what is Stella talking about? What could the greater good be which justifies killing and torturing thousands of kids while lying to them that they are being adopted for a better life? As the protagonist proceeds, he gets attacked by one of the toys, but though he comes to the rescue, helping him out, telling him to trust him and to follow him.
What's going on with this?
Now that is the spot. I haven't eaten for weeks.
Also makes like Joey the Doorman
Get
with
there now. Don't worry, I won't eat you. I'm Joe. I was told to speak.
That's amazing.
Deeper in the facilities, the protagonist passes interrogation rooms where Dewey explains how the organization used them to interrogate the toys who could speak after performing such horrendous experiments on them. Apart from experimenting on the kids, the employees would often use them as enslaved labor, forcing them to work. If they wouldn't work, they'd starve them and force them to fight each other for food. After a short while, the protagonist rejoins with Poppy, who is accompanied by an injured Kissy, who has thankfully survived. It seems the character who attacked Kissy was the prototype who chased them down here. Poppy and Kissy narrowly escaped and reaching the safe haven quarters where they stayed. They regrouped with Dewey, all of them hoping to get to the orphans who were all taken to the lab by the prototype during the hour of joy. Poppy explains their grand plan, which is to rescue the orphans and then eventually blowing this entire organization up. This would be possible due to the red smoke, which is extremely flammable. The prototype made a hell in here, preventing the toys and the orphans from ever escaping, which Poppy and a group of toys who were intelligent decided to escape. Exploring the place and listening to some of the toys overhears how the toys don't really trust Poppy, as if she betrayed them before. Speaking to Dewey, he explains Dr. Sawyer controls the base using a controller called Omni-Hand. However, the toys have a generator that they use to power the safe haven, which the doctor cannot control. Dewey instructs the protagonist to get the Omni-Hand to stop the doctor, yet he feels conflicted between destroying the factory or not. Listening to a secret conversation between Poppy and Dewey, we learn Poppy wants to burn the entire factory, including all the living toys. She wants to wipe all the traces from this place. Though he cannot bring himself to accept this plan, as it would mean killing all the dolls and toys, human beings and kids whom they took care of. Though he complains that Poppy left them with no explanation, with all of them being left to starve, with many dying.
It's the best for everyone, Doe. That no trace of this place is left. We agree to that.
Also makes like Joey the Doorman and probably still talking other stuff. That makes sense.
I can. Sorry.
I don't need to apologize for this game.
You disappeared. You left us.
clear where Puppy went and why, but we found her in her case, where she was trapped for years. This of course means the toys will all die in a horrible way, and the question is that a good idea? Where would the toys go if they would survive? They won't ever be accepted in the society, and the ones who have lost the ability to speak and use rationality will be treated horribly and won't be too safe amongst other people. We then learn about subject 1322C, Matthew Hallard, whom Claire Harker, a caretaker, explains to be an ideal boy whom she considers bringing into staff, as he is brilliant with the other kids, and as he is 15, he would be old enough to start work soon. It turns out subject 1322 was meant to be used in Project Doe, or in other words, to be transitioned into Doe. In a videotape from a scientist, they mention how 1322B, Kevin Barnes, was an ideal candidate to be transformed into Doe despite social problems and getting into fights. This displays how they had multiple kids and candidates, but decided to go for Kevin, a problem child, yet decided to restrict his cognitive abilities and consciousness to control him, as otherwise a 900-pound Doe able to shift its body anyhow could be very dangerous. Deeper in the facility.
I want to say sorry, Poppy, so you're Poppy, so you are sorry, of course. Excuse me, Poppy. You cannot sell for Poppy's story. It is not exactly for Poppy's meant. Dr. Holly Sawyer, of course you.
The doctor speaks on the speaker, warning the protagonist not to trust Puppy, that she is lying and not telling the full truth. He claims Puppy knew about the hour of joy and she allowed it to happen. It seems like she has her own plans and goals, which she is not unveiling. Or at least, that is what the doctor is claiming. In another videotape, we learned Dr. Sawyer was turned into a toy as well, due to many misses that he made and got himself in. Dr. White was involved in turning him into a toy through the directive of late Pierre. Dr. Sawyer was a brilliant doctor, but due to his lack of following orders and making his own experiments, he became what he enjoyed making, a monster. After some time, facing and battling Dr. Sawyer, who has become a terrifying machine, the protagonist manages to defeat him and obtain the Omni-Hand. The Omni-Hand allows the protagonist to hack and open doors and use it for many other electronics. As he returns to the safe haven to join with Doe, Puppy, and Kissy, they are pleasantly surprised to see him succeed, as no one has ever managed to do that before. They explain that they can now take on the prototype, who is also another force of evil, when Ollie calls in, saying that he is outside, referring to the prototype. As the protagonist is instructed to run the generator, Doe goes out to find out what Ollie is talking about, being lured outside of this place. After doing what Ollie asks of him, there's no sign of Doe, with Puppy hoping that he is alright. She then instructs him to go to the foundation of the place and plant the explosives to blow up the factory. As the protagonist goes on to do just that, he finds another videotape, which is of Doe. It turns out Jack, the child from the beginning who dropped in a mixture vat, was eventually turned into Doe when the parents were invited to see him. The father was hesitant, but the mother went in to talk to him when he struggles to remember her, and in a fit of rage kills him, not knowing any better and unable to control himself.
That's our son in there, our son! You're okay. That's not even human. Let's just talk to him. You'll see. Let's just go in there and talk to him. Can we? Can we talk to him? Yes, ma'am. You certainly can. Jack?
How does it exactly work with everything else? And like, she's so annoying.
I've never forgiven myself for what happened. I played it all back a million times in my head, and I know there had to be something I could have done. I could have reached just a little further. I could have noticed a little sooner. I could have. But we have him back now. That's what's important. We can
that?
The gentle voices lie. I know what they do. They lied, and they told, and they hurt. Susan, get away from me!
Jack? Mommy will lie to you, Jack. Mommy won't hurt you. I've never hurt you.
Open this door!
This made the monster of Jack. Oh, computers in.
Please, open the door!
Later on, the protagonist faces Dewey, who seems to have multiple personalities, struggling to maintain himself, having internal conflicts. He has a compassionate side, then an angry side, trying to hurt the protagonist and then having conflict that he shouldn't. He then opens his mouth, revealing there to be 3 different individuals, which could potentially mean Dewey is the combination of 3 different individuals, Kevin, Jack, and Matthew. Maybe that is why he couldn't recognize his mother. Dewey all of a sudden becomes hostile when finding one of his dolls being killed, feeling as if he let them down, blaming the protagonist for it. The protagonist, seeing how out of control Dewey is, he starts running away. In a battle, the protagonist is left with no other choice but to kill an out of control Dewey, who apologizes at the very end for his actions, saying how he wants the other dolls to stay alive.
And then never plays after this.
Later on in a videotape, we learn how Dewey could easily escape, given his flexibility and ability to pass through cracks, but he decided to stay and help the other dolls and toys who are hungry and scared, who goes back and sacrifices himself for them. He takes the responsibility of a leader in the absence of a puppy to lead and help the other toys. He makes the recording as a reminder to never think about escape anymore until he gets every doll out safely. Though he didn't deserve dying, as he was a true, selfless hero. Eventually, the protagonist meets with Kissy and Poppy, who seems to be on the walkie-talkie talking to Ollie. It turns out Ollie was in fact the prototype all along. It was Prototype who mimicked Ollie in order to learn about their plans and their whereabouts. It turns out Ollie was led, but Poppy never in fact talked to her son. The prototype claimed the personality and character of Ollie in order to learn about the secret plans of Poppy.
Ollie, something's gone horribly wrong. The safe haven.
Show ventilation block B6. Is this where you are, Poppy?
What?
Stay where you are.
Listen closely. You don't got to run. We're not going to fight. The charade is over.
Who is this?
An obvious question with an obvious answer.
You. What did you do with Ollie?
I'm right here, Poppy.
For you,
I'll always
be here.
The doctor, Catnap, Mommy and Huggy. They're all dead. You have nothing now. No one.
What is happening for
You have less than
Happy
that.
Wuggy, Mama Alex, and Catnap?
You don't need to pretend anymore.
You don't need to play being stronger than you are.
You can come home.
Prototype.
How much do you know?
Everything.
This isn't right. All those years. Was there ever an Ollie?
Yes, there was.
But that was a very long time ago.
The prototype explains how he collected all the planted explosives, which he wants to put into some good use. But he's starting to get
the music
terrified,
key-
runs
the
away,
music
leaving
like kids
Kissy,
make
the
it as-
prototype, on their own, saying how she cannot go back to the case. That's when the floor underneath them collapses,
Do you
as
see
the
the
explosives are
text
activated,
sequences
with the
that
protagonist
happens?
falling down, getting to the left. As he
That
tries
is
to help
clear.
him, but her
That
arm is
happens.
ripped off, which
How many
shows
times
her
I tell you?
priceless character. That's when we get a massive plot twist when the protagonist is deep in the labs, witnessing an injured Huggy who has survived the fall from chapter 1, who is very, very angry now, clearly remembering the protagonist attacking him. That wraps up the story for Puppy Playtime Chapter 4. Make sure to stay tuned as I'm planning to make more videos about this chapter. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Have a fantastic day.
Okay, the last one of the is Puppy Playtime Chapter 4 Aiden. Come on, keep going, please.
I already explained the story of Puppy Playtime Chapter 4 in my previous video, which you can watch by clicking on the link in the description if you haven't already.
Exactly
There are a few new characters that are introduced, but most noteworthy being Doey, the Doman, who we learn to be the combination of 3 different children with different characteristics: Matthew, Kevin, and Jack. Matthew was described as a kind and caring child who took care of the children, while Kevin was hostile and always got into fights. Jack was simply a child who died in a tragedy, having fear and trauma, asking for his parents. The soft voices, as Doey talks about, are the voices of the different conflicting kids inside him, which causes him to go mad. So, if you ask why Doey became hostile at the end, well, the internal conflict that he had caused him to become as such. We can even hear him consistently asking for his parents, which is the Jack persona inside of him.
Can't trust anyone! The gentle voices lie! You lie! I'm trying to be better. To be who they need. Not smart enough. Not good enough. Not...
That sounds like the dying ambulance.
The only way that we can kill him is by freezing him and then dropping a massive weight on him, which crushes him. And we'll go in much more depth about Doey in another video. But for now, let's focus on the ending. At the very end, we learn about a massive plot twist that Ollie, the kid ally whom Puppy continuously talked to over the phone, was none other than the prototype. This explains why the prototype was always a step ahead and knew exactly where everyone is. We also learn about Puppy and what she had done to cause many toys turn against her. Apparently, she was the leader of the toys beforehand, leading them to freedom, rebelling against the employees. At some point, she disagrees with the prototype of creating a world within the walls of the factory, kidnapping people and eating them, instead deciding the path of pacifism and having a different plan. This created 2 different factions within the factory. A faction who followed the prototype and another who followed Puppy. In the height of battle, Puppy leaves whoever relied on her behind, disappearing, which disheartened many of the toys who are in fact children and people, with the prototype having a justified excuse to kill, control, and eat them as they have disobeyed him. Puppy seemingly got scared and tried to run away. The prototype captured her and trapped her inside the case that we find in the first chapter. We find drawings and other toys talking about how they cannot trust Puppy any longer. In fact, the kind persona of Matthew with a Doey starts showing, who steps up and takes care of the toys in the absence of Puppy and becomes their leader. He was so good that he could easily swap through cracks and run away, but he decides to stay and watch over the toys and kids. As he explains, he is their pillar, he is what they look up to, and he cannot simply leave and abandon them, and that's why he decides to stay in and leave only with them.
I'm not sure if this thingy is on, but I need to talk, and I can't talk about this with anyone else. For the past few months, the fighting's been bad. Real bad. I've seen a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't. It's It's been hard to keep my head straight. The others, they look to me to know what to do, to know where to go. For a long while, we had Poppy to tell us, go here, go there, do this. And it all made sense, too. Poppy was nice.
She tells you Poppy is
Poppy
nice.
anywhere. I don't know what happened or where she went, but it's scary here without her. Maybe she ran, just like I have. I'm here, outside the prison, in front of...
Outside the prison.
Almost forgot it was all here.
It says working in the prison.
And seeing this again, it's
Yeah, I mean, so that's your parents.
I could make for the exit. It's all I'd wanted for the longest time. But there are others inside. Others that aren't like me. They're hungry and scared like I am, but they're not me. They can't go where I can. But they mean a lot to me. A lot more than I thought they did. And having seen what I have, knowing how they see me, how much they need me. I'm going back. I wanted to make this in case I ever doubt or forget that. Just play this and remember. Yeah. Yeah. That's all. See ya.
The ending also unveils the spineless character of Puppy, who becomes scared and leaves Kissy and the protagonist alone, running away to save her own. When she learns the prototype was mimicking Omi from the beginning, she loses hope and runs away. Despite Kissy trying to protect her and take care of her, even though Kissy becomes really scared, Puppy abandons her and does exactly what she did before. So in the ending, we finally learn what it has been about Puppy that made the toys distrust her. Kissy's priceless and golden character shines at the end as well, who tries to save the protagonist after the floor beneath them collapses because of the implanted explosives by the prototype. But her arm is ripped off, and the protagonist reaches the farm of the factory, which happens to be the lab. The lab is known as the home of the prototype, where he was trapped in for as long as he can remember, being experimented on every day. Within the lab, we find a meticulously arranged flower field with heavily reinforced doors blocking anyone from passing through rooms without authorization. We find a videotape from Late Gear, who sarcastically mocks anyone who has found themselves down here, who will soon face the extreme measures of their security when we hear the all too familiar alarm which summons Huggy Wuggy. It seems as if the security measure was in place already, with Huggy being used in both the lab and also the reception, as Late Gear re-recorded the tape already in both levels with the same alarm. As Huggy comes out, he is heavily injured, which indicates that he is the same Huggy who fell down in the first chapter. It seems he took the expressway down to the labs. With how invincible the protagonist is, as he took a fall straight down to the labs from the higher floor, he could potentially take the same path as Huggy took as well, to get down here rather than going through so many chapters. Either way, through the labs and the flowers, we learn the prototype has made a home for himself. Through the shadow, we also now know that he has mechanical spider legs while having skeletal and needle-like arms, which is a true monstrosity. I am just baffled why Playtime Factory would make such a terrifying experiment. If anything, they were asking for the riot and to be killed. So through the ending, we learn that Puppy betrayed the toys. That is why so many dislike her. She also has a horrible plan of blowing up the factory with every single toy within it. It's not clear if she is one of those toys or if she is planning to escape while every other toy burns within the walls of the factory. Speaking to Doi, he didn't approve of this plan as each toy is a living child within. Regardless of whether
Doi.
having lost their consciousness or
What the heck
not,
are you
they
doing?
still are alive, feel pain and fear. That goes without saying that many of the toys were fully conscious and intelligent, able to talk and
That's
think
the
critically. So
what
Puppy
people do.
wanting to destroy the factory with every
Like
single
what people
toy
is
within
still
it sounds
actually
nuts.
smoke.
But the question
They
is,
don't.
if the toys do manage to leave
When
the
I every
factory,
month.
where would they go and what would they eat? The society would surely not accept them as they are, and they would
Oh,
be
the
outcasts. They would
like
possibly be hunted or even
the
experimented on
still
further. So it
has
is
to
a
do
matter
with
of
that.
being a gray area, whether in their suffering by
That's
killing
good
everyone,
for
or taking
the
their chance of
workers
going into the
in
world
the
and hoping for the
in the
best. It is difficult to bring back the
in
humans
the
within the toys and reconstruct them
Grayson
again,
Coal
as
factory.
they are heavily fused with the plushy buddies. Back to Puppy and her persona, she yet again betrays her closest friend and ally, Kissy, and the protagonist. She trembles in the voice and threats of the prototype, running away, saying that she cannot be placed back inside the case anymore. In a way, I understand her fear, as being trapped in a small case for decades can truly make one go mad. The toys beneath at least had something to do, someone to talk to, or places to roam. But for Puppy, she only had her mind while her body was restrained fully. But the thing is, she has come so far now, and if anything, the protagonist is extremely capable, so they would possibly win. Running away like a coward is not a good look for Puppy. We also learned that Ollie has been the prototype all along, and that
Except
Puppy
for the
never
wax,
actually
it's still
met
one
Ollie.
with it.
She just was
Except
under
for
the
the
impression that he is one of the orphans
wax,
who has
still
managed to
one
survive
like it
within the labs. She
like
thought
over
Ollie has
in
kept the
the
orphans
place.
alive, and they are planning an escape. This was all the prototype who created this long and intricate story. The prototype explains that Ollie in fact existed, and he was a kid who lived, but that was a long time ago, suggesting that he is long dead now. So this could potentially mean that no kid has survived at all. There seems to be no kids or orphans in the lab any longer. If anything, they wouldn't be kids anymore, as the story takes place through many years. So the idea Puppy had of rescuing the orphans before blowing up the factory was all just a fantasy, as it simply never made any sense. First of all, what would the kids eat while trapped in the lab? Wouldn't the prototype eat them or feed them to the other toys as food? And also, they would simply grow into adults in so many years, so they wouldn't be kids anymore. This realization simply breaks Puppy, who loses all hope, questioning her own reality. Finally, we got to see our favorite antagonist, Huggy Wuggy, who will accompany us in Chapter 5. By the looks of it, Chapter 5 will be possibly the last chapter, as we are in the lab, the home of the prototype, where we are going to finally face him off. But it all depends if the developers want to push another chapter or not. And that brings us to the end of the video, folks. If you enjoyed it, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Have a fantastic day.
I guess, let's see if I actually see Hobby Playtime Chapter 3 and 4 video episodes. Well, this got the new episode. So actually, just smack the like button, subscribe, and notification bell to see my videos with this. Well, let's get the new episode and see you next time. Well, see you on Saturday for a big move. Well, this is the new episode and see you next video. Bye, I love you.